subscribers on YouTube.
Oh,
Thank you.
nice. Oh, God, I can't look.
The pick is in.
I'm not looking at anything other than
Yeah, I
TV.
can't watch the chest to spoil it.
Cancer-free Dave
Hell
Coulier.
yeah.
You love to see it.
Hell yeah.
Carter Bear.
Carter Bear.
Oh my God. Called it. Fits the bill perfectly. Hey, we got it on the mock draft.
Yeah, we got it on the mock draft.
Carter Bear. Honestly, like I know we had Eklund.
I like that.
He fits what they're looking for.
Here's the thing. It's the Hawken-Anders thing in reverse works too. If they're passing on Eklund,
yes,
it's because he wasn't pounding the table for it. Carter Bear, high offense upside. Dude can score goals. Dude can grind it out. He's lefty, left wing. Arguably biggest need in the organization. This is a swing. I like it. Not the production you would want for a late birthday in the dub, but someone pointed out and looking into it, his 5-on-5 production was exceptional.
It was me. I think he was third in WHL 5-on-5 points per 60.
Yeah, that's exceptional. That gives me hope because that's the type of stat you want to see with an 18-year-old in the dub if you're taking him this high.
Something else I'll say about Carter Bear, and we're going to have a lot to say about him right now. No joke. Evan talks about the QMJHL being a hard league to draft out of because the stats are so inflated. The WHL has a reputation for it's as close to playing against men as you can in a junior Canadian league. So
we got to find out I got to figure out who the Red Wings WHL scout is because that might be the most trusted man in this organization lately.
Yeah.
They have gone to the WHL well a lot.
And he is also a Yzerman type, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. Yeah. Probably more so than anybody else we were talking about in this range that just the edge he plays with, the competitiveness, and he's a high skill player too. That's the part I like about it. Now, the one part we haven't mentioned, I'm assuming that they picked him. The doctors said the Achilles thing's not a big concern.
Yeah. Partially lacerated and he's recovered.
Yeah. Did we all have Carter Bear on our top 5 preferences there?
Yeah. I had him.
That'd be rare for us, someone from all 3 of our lists to get picked.
Yeah, no kidding. I had him in my top 5. Evan did, and you did as well. Yeah, look at that. Yzerman talking about him being intelligent, skilled, a goal scorer. And
use the word competitive.
Unsurprising.
Yeah, very unsurprising.
Evan, you have to be of 2 minds here because one, you're now going to have to erase Ethan Bear from your mind.
That's going to be impossible.
I can't wait till we get a goal when Mason Raymond sets up Ethan Bear for a goal.
It's going to take me a long time.
Let's talk about the competitiveness, the drive as well. We joke about the Yzerman type and all that, but this isn't a guy who gives up really offense for the sake of that.
No, and the Yzerman competitiveness thing has become a meme because of how much he's stuck to it, but it is a quality you want in a player. That's the thing. If you want to look at the archetype of a team that's full of a bunch of 200-foot high compete guys, it's Florida. Now, Detroit doesn't have that level of skill in their system now, but that's the model they're trying to build in where they're going to throw 4 lines at you that not only piss you off, but can score. And that's what Carter Bear is, right? He's the guy who every shift he can make something happen. And you got to think, you play 50 shifts in a game. If you score on 2 of them, you're having a phenomenal game. What are you doing for the other 48 shifts? And he's going to go out there and still make an impact, right? So it's the number one intangible you want in a player. Now, the Red Wings have got themselves in trouble with more so in free agency than the draft with focusing too much on intangibles and missing out on the tangibles, but obviously that's not an issue with Bear with his production, 40 goals in the dub as an 18-year-old. The archetype of a special player is here. But like Danielson, it's okay, the 5-on-5 scoring's great, but what's the ultimate upside here? Is this a 30-30 guy in the NHL? Is this a 40-goal scorer in the NHL? Or is this a 20-20 guy? Those are all in range.
What do you think is let's say 90% of what he could ultimately be, which very few prospects actually reach that. So I'm saying upper tier of what he could be. What do you see Carter, first line left wing or?
I used it for another guy, but Marchand?
Not
I don't think ceiling, but
Hall of Famer.
No,
yeah,
but
sure.
that left wing, really good score, good playmaking, good vision, and be that pain in the ass on the ice. Obviously, I don't think Bear's got that upside. But if you shifted Sam Bennett to the wing, to keep with the Florida theme, That's a possibility. Again, Sam Bennett had a great playoff, but he's only a 50-point guy in the regular season. That's probably in the range of what Bear's going to be, a 50-60 guy. And then he plays the type of game that you can see elevate in the playoffs, I take that.
What do you think of Carter Bears? Like, you talk a lot about the Red Wings need playmaking.
Underrated, but not his calling card.
I think that's what you said last episode too.
Like, in the sense that not this same type of player, but in the sense of what we're talking about with an Alex DeBrincat comparison. DeBrincat's a shooter first and foremost. Carter Bear's a shooter first and foremost. But DeBrincat's playmaking's good enough that teams have to respect it. They can't sell out on his shot because he's good enough to burn them with a good pass at the right time. I think Bear is in that same category of it's good enough that you have to respect it, because if you oversell on him, he can burn you in another way.
What I like about Bear is there's not a lot that's lacking. I'm not going to pretend that he's a guy with the same kind of coming into the draft upside as McQueen or something like that. But this is a guy where if he stayed healthy and didn't have that injury risk, he has a really great shot to go top 10. I agree with you, Brad, that his shot is what the part of his offense that people are going to look at. But I do think his passing and his ability to utilize his teammates is really strong. And
they have Meredith Goodrow announcing the pick. That's nice.
That's awesome. And the fact that he is able to kind of generate offense that way with his shot, but also get to the hard areas, drive the net. He doesn't back away from puck battles. He engages with players first. Is something I really like with him. That's part of having the label of being the ultimate competitor in this draft class. To me, at pick 13, it's kind of, in this draft class, I'm happy the Red Wings were able to walk away with something like that. I'm not going to sit here and say this is the exact same thing as O'Brien falling or something like that, but I think Carter Bear's overall a great result. All right, outlook for Carter Bear. What's next for him? How does his progression go? Late birthday, so is he ready a bit sooner?
He's going to follow the Nate Danielson path almost certainly. So he'll go back to the Dub this year and hopefully dominate. He's going to be playing with Landon DuPont this year again. Obviously, Everett was a good team this year. I don't know Everett well enough to know if they're still going to be competitive or if they're losing a lot of OAs. But so he'll be expected to play a really big role there. And then probably straight from Everett to Grand Rapids, I would guess. 1 year there, and then hopefully he's in the situation after that season with where we're at with Danielson now, where it's like, okay, he probably should be on the Red Wings. Now, obviously, other circumstances dictate all that stuff, but with Bear's size, speed, and like compete, I know we're going to beat that word to death. He's going to have an inside track to not be a 3-4 year project. He's got the tangibles and the intangibles to make me think he's a 2-year to the NHL guy, factoring in the late birthday.
The way he plays, to me, is one of the biggest things there.
Like, a lot of comparisons to him and MBN, and they're going to play on opposite sides.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, I could see, I know I hate projecting roster lines down the line because it's so insane how, but like, you could imagine a world where there's a lot, the Red Wings' second or third line is MBN and Bear flanking an elite playmaker like Max Plant or Larkin at that point.
Yeah.
And maybe Kasper's on the first line. Something like that. Could you imagine MBN, Kasper, and Bear on the same line?
Incredibly hard line.
Oh my God, that would be a nightmare to play
you
against.
talk about the Florida Panthers and why their like dogged style of playing is successful. That's what's trying to be recreated.
Yeah, then you can keep Larkin and Raymond together, and maybe DeBrincat's still kicking around then, probably.
Yeah.
You could see a path there, and then all of a sudden all your longer shots, quote unquote, to make the NHL have way less pressure, because if a Mazer, if a Buchelnikov, if a Plant, if a whoever is ready in a year or two, that's easy to ease him in on the third line. You're not trying to shoehorn him into a big hole on the top line or the top second line.
All right, Evan, more from you. Your thoughts on Bear as the pick. You had him on your list, so what do you like about it? Where do you see the path, the fit?
I think one of the things that I like about him a lot is, he's had to earn everything he's gotten out of hockey so far. Like, start of this year, I don't think he was really on anyone's first round draft board, and he just had an incredible season. The other thing I really like him is he was a 6th round pick in the WHL. He wasn't a lottery pick. He wasn't a 1st round pick, a guy who everyone said is going to be the best player and has every opportunity. He's had to earn it all, and you can kind of tell that by the way he plays. Like, he just annoys the hell out of the other team. He gets under guys' skin. He's a 40-40 guy. Like, he had 40 plus goals, 40 plus assists, so he's got a well-rounded offense. I think his skating needs to improve to really push his ceiling at the NHL level. I think a guy like him has NHL career written all over him. It's just really how high he can push it. And I think skating is going to be one thing. And I think he's got to get bigger. Like, he can bully guys now in the WHL, which is impressive. Like, the WHL is a rough and tumble league for juniors. But if he wants that personality trait, that game trait that separates him at the junior level to translate up levels, he has to become bigger. He's got to become that professional eater that Lucas Raymond did, because if he doesn't, then the ceiling comes way down on him. But all in all, he was on my list. I really like him. I like what the kid has, and I like that type of player. Like, the Red Wings desperately need a get under your skin, annoy the hell out of you, and then also just bury you with some skills. So I certainly think there's lots to improve in his game, but at the core fundamental level, I really like him. And a lot of drafts had him in the top 10. Like, they had him in the 7 to 12 range. Like, this is found value for the Red Wings too. Some people might not feel that way, but you look at a lot of consolidated boards, he was projected to not even be there for Detroit. So I think he'll be a good fit, and I agree with you guys. He needs a couple of years, a year at least, probably a year in Grand Rapids, and then we'll see. But if he pans out, MBM pans out, Kasper pans out, you bring in Mazur to solidify the 3rd or 4th line, like, you've got an annoying team to deal with. So, yeah, it's a good pick. Jackson Smith was my first choice out of all these players, but Carter Bear, I think, will be an excellent prospect for the Red Wings.
I think the things you said there that he has to work on. I think skating is an apt one. Not that he's a bad skater. I think he plays quick, but what you said about him raising his ceiling, I agree. He can really kind of solidify a top 6, outlook if he improves the skating. And the good news is that's something where if you have a decent enough foundation to work with, that happens a lot at the NHL level. There is the added caveat. You had a partial tear of your Achilles tendon. So he says he's all good. Doctors cleared him. The outlook from everyone I've talked to is actually pretty positive about on Carter Bear's recovery from his partial tear of his Achilles, but he'll still have to rehab that. So it's a big summer of rehab on that, and it's a big summer of filling out that frame. He has a 6-foot-ish frame, 6 foot, maybe 6'1". So it's not like he's small, but he's slight. Right now, he's just a classic, kid from the dub who was drafted, so he looks like a pool noodle.
I mean, Sam Bennett couldn't do a pull-up at the combine, so who the hell really cares at this point in there? It's all in, you've been given the opportunity now. The door has been opened, and you have to make the most of it. And like I said, he was taken in the 6th round of the WHL draft. He has earned everything he's had out of his hockey career, so there's no indication that he can't do it again.
There's not another guy, like, it's not a McQueen top 3 talent that was there. Like, if this feels like, feels like a from the 13th overall predictable bucket, yeah, that's what Carter Bear was. If I had to bet, I'd say he would have been there for the Red Wings, but that doesn't make it a bad pick. I think this is well within the range. Carter Bear, after many hours, this is the end of the night. Good Lord, NHL, please fix this. Carter Bear picked pick 13. Other players on the board like Victor Eklund, Jackson Smith. There's there was a lot of options for the Red Wings. There's no Roger McQueen falling, but the Red Wings went with Carter Bear. So again, recap your reactions to the pick. Recap the overall player profile and how he fits the Red Wings' needs.
200-foot, high compete, well-rounded offensive player, wicked shot, scores in a lot of ways, good enough playmaking to keep the opposition on their toes, was right in range of where we expect him to go, was right in range of where we had him ranked. Of all the guys that were available, wasn't my first option, but he was on my short list of preferred picks. I mean, if he comes back from the Achilles injury, just fine and dominates the dub this year, like, there's a reality this guy could be a 30-goal scorer in the NHL.
Yeah, like what you said earlier in the stream, I thought was extremely apt about him. He's not a one-dimensional kind of offensive threat. He can get you in a lot of ways. His shot is fantastic, but he also plays in the hard areas. He gets to they're called the dirty areas of the net, but it's where like the meat and potatoes kind of goals come. He engages physically. He can't just play through physical play. He is the one initiating the physical play. So you're not worried about board battles. You're actually trusting him. And that's the kind of player you can trust, not just in offensive situations, but on 200 feet of the ice, on the PK, on the power play, if you like, and the kind of guy who, fits the Yzerman mold, but it's never a bad thing, especially in the modern NHL. We just watched how the Florida Panthers won 2 straight cups, the ultimate competitor. I liked your comparison. Like, it's maybe play style one thing or another, but Sam Bennett, it could be right there in Sam Bennett and fits the organizational need with the left wing as well. Underrated passing and creativity and skills as well. He's not a pure playmaker. He's not Max Plant, but he's not a one-dimensional shooter only too. So that's why I like the pick overall and why I think he was on all of our boards.
Yeah, I mean, looking back at the first round of the draft now, you had Carter Bear obviously there. You had Victor Eklund sitting there and Jackson Smith. Those are probably, and for Brad, Cole Reschny was sitting there as well. So there's definitely 2 guys who were falling down the boards. And then there was probably, a mix of picks that we all would have been happy with. And for I think, let's talk about Victor Eklund first. Like, if Kashawn Aitcheson is letting you pass on a guy like Victor Eklund when he's perceived to be a guaranteed top 10 pick, I have full confidence that Carter Bear was a better choice for the Red Wings. I really like Carter Bear a lot. Like, he brings that element. If you like Aitcheson for what he brings on defense, you're gonna like what Carter Bear brings. Like, he's a spark plug. He's a water bug out there. He doesn't shy away from physical play. He plays in the WHL, and if you're known as a physical player in the WHL, you absolutely have a physical and a nasty element. He gets under opponent's skin and he can score. He can set up plays. He's got some excellent upside to his game. So for me, it's can he improve his skating enough to really raise that ceiling, hit his ceiling? But worst case, he's got a great floor. He could plug in on the third line, provide additional scoring, or he could be a bolt-on player in your top 6. And at pick 13 in the NHL draft, that's almost his best case scenario. So I think he's going to be a great fit into the Red Wings organization. Fills a huge need being a left shot. Yeah, pretty happy with the pick.
Thanks for tuning in to the Winged Wheel Podcast. Be sure to visit wingedwheelpodcast.com, where you'll find links to subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. You'll also find ways to support the show, like Patreon, official podcast merchandise, and more. And don't forget to follow us on X at Winged Wheel Pod, at Ryan Hanna, WWP, at Brad Crisco, and at Hockeytown Evan, as well as Winged Wheel Podcast on Instagram.